I'm Holly. In today's video, I'm going to be making some donut-shaped wax melts. They're super cute. I always love making these ones. I'm going to scent them in a lemon donut scent. I've made these ones before and they're oh so good. So I'm going to get all my equipment, everything gathered to get started. And I wanted to remind you to check out the video description because there will be information there about the molds, etc. Let's get started. All right, so I have my wax measured out. I have 64 ounces of wax, and my wax is a Parasoy blend. It's custom for my business, but I am going to leave you some great options in the description box, so be sure to check that out. So every single wax will have the instructions for your fragrance load, for colorants, for temperatures, to use it at, what you melt it to what you add all the additional ingredients at. So even though I may not really go into that on this video, just know that the wax that you choose will come with instructions. So what I'm doing here is not super critical to the process. So I am going to go ahead and color this. I have some nature-friendly dyes from Nature's Garden. I have yellow set aside, a little orange, and some golden honey. So because it's a donut, I like it to be yellow, but have a little bit of like an ivory to it. So I'm going to start by adding some drops of the yellow. I'm going to do about 6. I don't know if I'm talking and counting right at the same time. And I'm going to add, let's do 4 of the golden honey, and we're going to see where it's at. Sometimes I like to add just a little bit orange. I always like how it kind of deepens the yellow a little bit. So I need to get something to test the color on here. I'm going to use a piece of this brown freezer paper. It's still going to give me a pretty good idea of what I'm looking at. I like it. It's a pale yellow. I really do think I want to try something white real quick. So I'm going to test to see what color this is on white. I just have a piece of just printer paper here. I used to use my freezer paper, but it's brown now, so it's a little bit more difficult. That seems too pale to me, so I am going to add more yellow. And we'll see what that looks like before we get too carried away. I usually add the color first. That way the wax can kind of can cool down a little bit before we put in the fragrance. I'm liking that, but I do know that it will fade out quite a bit. So I'm going to add some more. So I'm up to 18 drops. I'm going to put in 2 more ivory. So I'm at 18, if I've calculated correctly, 18 yellow, 6 ivory, and I don't think I'm going to add any orange today. These are fairly new colorants for me. I did use them over the holidays, but I'm still getting used to them. I usually use liquid colorants from Rustic Essentials or the Flaming Candle. I like that. I think it's a very subtle difference, but I like how that turned out. Now, we can add a little sparkle. I just have some gold mica here. And it doesn't take much, just a titch. And then that's going to add just a real nice shimmer to the wax. And it's always so pretty when it's melting, when it has that shimmer. Let's see how that looks. I think we can add just a hint more. It's not super shimmery, just a little shimmery. That looks nice. Yes, I think I'm going to be very happy with this color. And you can see now that it's starting to dry. It's very subtle. So 1, 2, 3. The differences are quite subtle, obviously. All right, that's quite nice. Let me see what my temperature is. I'm at 185, which means I'm almost low enough to add in the fragrance. The fragrance I'm using today is this lemon sugar bundt cake from Rustic Essentials. It smells so very good. And I use about 10%, just under 10% for mine. So I am going to probably just do 6 ounces for mine. Smells amazing. It's a fresh lemon, but you also have that bakery note. Oops, I see a tinge more. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in, and I'm going to stir for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I'm actually on my second batch because I forgot to hit the record button when I was pouring. My camera has completely changed settings. I don't know what's happening, but now it goes into a standby mode. So I didn't get that done. So today I'm going to be using this little dispenser. And I just got this at like webstraunt.com, and it works so well. I do have some wax down in there from the last batch, but it works so well. I love it. So what I'm going to do is I just keep another little pour pot here for it to set in. And get it filled up. I'll have to do this several times. Okay. Now I'm going to get my molds. So my donut molds are from flexiblemolds.com, and these are my favorites. I have 2 different kinds, but I like the one with this type of a center, whereas, well, I'll just show you. So you can see the difference in the centers. I don't love this one quite as much. I prefer these, so I repurchased brand new ones of these. I think what had happened was I made an order and I had all of these and I thought I was getting more, but then I ended up getting this style, so I made sure that I had what I needed of this style after that. I just love this shape. So this dispenser really helps to do the pouring. It's getting a little bit cool because I've dilly-daddled a little bit. It's usually fine if you just get going. And then the heat of the wax coming through, yeah, there we go. It really melts it back down and the stream is improved. That's another reason why a heat gun is good around, because it does help to melt that down in there when it solidifies. These are just so cute. This scent is so yummy smelling. Woo! I looked up at my camera to make sure I was recording and then spilled. Oopsies. I like to overflow it, you know, kind of, it hits that edge and then rises up a bit. I like it to do that because otherwise it won't be big enough. I feel like it kind of like shrinks back down in. So I have a second tray of molds. So I have 12 of these all together. have a little bit of wax left, so I'm going to use this other kind of donut. And these will be samples and such. So for the cleanup portion, I'm going to use my heat gun and I'm going to melt all that's left here on the sides, and I will melt down what's left here, and then I will go ahead and pour it out and make a sample. That's usually what I use because it's been reheated and such, and then I just clean it out with a paper towel. Easy peasy. All right, I'm gonna let these sit overnight, and then I will unmold them and finish decorating them next. It's time to unmold. So we have our little sample ones here. They're quite a bit harder to get out sometimes. These ones are doing pretty good at the moment. That one wants to like stick on this piece there. Okay, come on now. And that's why I don't use this mold very often, is because they can be a little harder to unmold and it actually hurts my hands after a while. So these ones unmold so much better because there's not so much in the center to work on. So here we have a cutesy little donut. I love it, and they smell oh so good. So my next step will be to dip these and add the sprinkles to them. And I was actually having a hard time remembering how I did these exactly, but I referred back to my previous batch and pictures and figured it out, and I'm really glad I did because now I'm super excited because I get to use some cutesy patootsy sprinkles. Love them. So I am just going to keep unmolding. I have these three and then the other tray still. And then we'll come back to do some dipping. So for this part, I'm just going to use some plain wax. I'm not going to send it. So little actually goes onto each one that I don't find it necessary, and then I can reuse it if I want. I'm going to be using these Choco Maker Shimmery Mini Stars. I love these. They are the prettiest things. So let's see. We used quite a bit of them. Look how pretty those are. Aren't those lovely? Very cute. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the donut. I'm going to dip it once. I'm going to dip it twice. I won't have to dip it twice later once it thickens up a little bit. But I do like to only do the half of the dip. It is so much easier, and I don't get my fingers all in the wax. Now the sprinkles have to go on really quickly, otherwise they won't stick, because it does solidify quite quickly. So adorable. And it's going to take me about forever to get this all accomplished this day. But it's totally worth it. And I probably will hit them with a little bit of glitter. I need to double check my what I've done before, because I just want to reuse the pictures. I feel like I have a lot of pictures to get done with this release, so if I could avoid one, that is extremely helpful. Love it. And the other thing I can do is if I feel like they're not sticking super well, I can hit it with the heat gun and it's going to melt down the base wax just a little bit and kind of set in the sprinkles. I've done that quite a lot. It works really nice. because I don't want to drip a whole lot of the wax into the little bowl. Sometimes I can just let it fall down too, but it's easier just to kind of pick out some of that wax and kind of break it up and get the stars back. But let's do that. Let's do it different. Let's just do, I'm going to dip, dip, and go. That might actually be better in the long run for me to be retrieving my stars, because I will spill quite a lot of them in this process. So that's pretty much it for this part of the process. It's just going to take me a little while to get them done. I did decide to put the glitter on. I just have a little bit of like a gold iridescent type glitter, and these little spray bottles, spray pumps, are pretty easy to find. You can get them at Mad Mica's, Rustic Essentials, etc. And they just help to pump on the really fine glitter. And I like to put glitter on these so it's a little obvious that they're not food, because unfortunately some people do mistake such things. So to use, you're just going to put some into a little wax melter bowl. Usually just one is fine, but it depends on the size of your room and you know how strong you like scents. But you just put this on the wax warmer, let it melt, and enjoy the fragrance released. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.